Tom Homan said they can be deported together.
Correct.
Is that the plan?
Well, that way you keep the well, I don't want to be breaking up families, so.
I'm Del from the band Pullback.
I'm Jake the Snake. I was drummer for Detroit punk rocker Tommy Trav 5 years.
And he's a Polak.
I'm Brown.
But we're starting with the criminals, and we got to do it. And then we're starting with others, and we're going to see how it goes.
Who are the others?
Others are other people outside of criminals. We have convicted murderers. We don't mean people that are even on trial. We have people that have murdered numerous people are on our streets and in our farms, and we have to get them out of our country.
What about dreamers, sir? Dreamers who were brought to this country illegally as children. You said once back in 2017, they, quote, shouldn't be very worried about being deported. Should they be worried now?
The dreamers are going to come later, and we have to do something about the dreamers because these are people that have been brought here at a very young age, and many of these are middle-aged people now. They don't even speak the language of their country. And yes, we're going to do something about the dreamers.
What does that mean?
And
what are you going to do?
I will work with the Democrats on a plan, and if we can come up with a plan, but the Democrats have made it very, very difficult to do anything. Republicans are very...
Well, they're going to fight him on tooth and nail on everything. They're going to, because they're already pissed because they lost. You know,
Yeah.
They're pissed because he won, so they're not going to try to work with him at all.
Into the dreamers. The dreamers, we're talking many years ago, they were brought into this country. Many years ago. Some of them are no longer young people. And in many cases, they become successful. They have great jobs. In some cases, they have small businesses. Some cases, they might have large businesses. And we're going to have to do something with them. And
you want them to be able to stay. That's what you're saying?
I do.
Okay.
I want to be able to work something out. And it should have been able to be worked out over the last 3 or 4 years. And it never got worked out. You know, Biden could have done it because he controlled, you know, Congress to a certain extent, right? He could have done something, but they didn't do it. I never understood why, because they always seem to want to do it, but then when it comes down to it, they don't. I think we can work with the Democrats and work something out.
Let me ask you about another group of people, the estimated 4 million families in America who have mixed immigration status. So I'm talking about parents who might be here illegally, but the kids are here legally. Your borders are...
You're talking about separation.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are two aspects to this. Your border czar, Tom Homan, said they can be deported together.
Correct.
Is that the plan?
Well, that way you keep the... Well, I don't want to be breaking up families, so...
They bitch if they're separated, but then again, they're going to bitch because they're together.
Yeah.
So no matter what, you're an asshole no matter what you do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So their logic is, you know, if you do this, you're wrong, and if we do the opposite, you're wrong anyway.
That was the same thing with the Roe v. Wade. Oh, well, the federal government shouldn't be, you know, have a say in the woman's body. Okay, we'll give it back to the states where they can vote on it. You're evil. You know, it's like,
you're a misogynist.
Yeah.
You know, you can't satisfy them. You know, they want everything, and everything, you know, it don't work like that.
Where you don't break up the family is you keep them together and you have to send them all back.
Even kids who are here legally?
Well, what you're going to do if they want to stay with the father, look, we have to have rules and regulations. You can always find something out like, you know, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. I'll tell you what's going to be horrible. When we take a wonderful young woman who's with a criminal and they show the woman, and she could stay by the law, but they show the woman being taken out, or they want her out, and your cameras are focused on her as she's crying, as she's being taken out of our country, and then the public turns against us. But we have to do our job, and you have to have a series of standards and a series of laws. And in the end, look, our country is a mess.
It's not all rainbow and roses and shit, you know?
Yeah.
Highest crime rate, and during the debate, a man whose ratings have gone way down, David Muir, said to me, no, crime is, because I had to debate 3 people, not one. Debating 1 was easy. Debating 3 was actually pretty easy, too, if you want to know the truth. But David Muir said, the crime rates have gone down. I said, no, they've gone up. And then the following day, they released the crime rates, and they were way up.
Yeah, the FBI statistics are, you're talking about those FBI statistics.
Well, no, but he gave the wrong answer.
Confusing based on what you're looking at.
But a lot of that is migrant crime.
Let me ask you about another aspect of
Christian,
this.
you know a lot of it's migrant crime.
Well, let me ask you about another aspect of this that I think a lot of people are really curious about. I mean, 3% of the people who are here illegally have criminal histories. But in your first administration, you had the zero tolerance policy, where we did see family separations.
Yeah.
You ended it. The purpose of that, though.
And that happened under Obama. Obama's the one who did that shit, started that shit. And then they blame it on him. It was Obama that started that.
To some extent, you
And
talked
by the
about
way,
this at the time, was deterrent.
you also had it with Obama. You do know that.
He didn't have a zero tolerance policy.
And you also know he built the jails for children.
He didn't have a zero tolerance policy.
But in 2014, he built the jails. You know that.
I want to ask you about the
You
zero
don't want to hear that
tolerance
shit,
policy. I mean, he
because
didn't
it's
have
true.
a systemic, we're going to separate families. Families were separated when parents were a threat to the kids.
We don't have to
Let me ask
separate
you
a
about
family.
this.
Excuse me, Kristen.
Yeah.
We don't have to separate families.
Yeah.
We'll send the whole family very humanely back to the country where they can. That way the family's
Very
not
humanely.
separated.
So no more family separations. You're not
Well,
reviving
it
the
depends
zero
on the
tolerance
family. The
policy.
family may decide to say, I'd rather have dad go, and we'll stay here. And in which case they have that option.
But you're not going to revive your zero tolerance policy, which was put in place as a deterrent. Is there any universe where you would bring that back, sir?
We need deterrence. Look, ready?
When
somebody comes here illegally, they're going out.
She
It's
just
very
don't
simple.
like it that he's
When they
trying to-
come here illegally,
She don't like that he's not trying. She's trying to catch him in a lie and stuff, and he's being straightforward, and she's pissed because she can't say "gotcha"
Yeah.
or "you lie." You know, she's trying to get him every way she can. Like you said earlier, I don't know. You know, she expecting to give some bullshit answer that she can pick at, and he wasn't going to do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not promising this or that. You know, so yeah, I give him a lot of credit for that.
they're going out. Now, if they come here illegally, but their family is here legally, then the family has a choice. The person that came in illegally can go out, or they can all go out together.
So, but
And that was made very clear by Tom Homan.
so you're not at this point in time planning.
Tom Homan, the new
Borders are, yeah.
That guy's a badass.
Oh yeah,
I love
yeah.
him.
He don't fuck around, man. He's gonna make some changes, dude. He picked the right man for that.
Yeah.
I've seen an interview with him, man. He's fucking. He's yeah. I like the guy.
That zero tolerance policy where kids are
Well, if you call it,
separated.
yeah, I'm doing what
See, the Biden administration, all these countries just pushed them people around and did what they wanted to do, and said what they wanted to say, do what they want to do. Fuck you, okay, we're sorry, you know.
Yeah.
And he's not going to let anybody push him around or push us around, I should say.
Yeah.
And people are pissed about that. These countries are used to walking all over this country, walking all over the people that run it, and they let them, and now things are different.
I just told you I'm going to do. I don't want to send the family out. I don't want to send anybody out. But I'll tell you, we have to, because otherwise we have no country.
Well, just like me when I was supervisor, I was a good friend of one, really close friend of mine. He was my dice setter for a while, and I had to write him up. I didn't want to, but it was part of the job. I had to.
Yeah. If you want structure and things to go good, you have to have responsibility.
Yeah. Well,
And,
Well, I was making these housings for these units that were going to go out, and they had to have a bunch of slots in them to be bolted together and stuff around the unit. And there was a notch in the part, and you were supposed to set up not off. He set up off the notch to put all the slots in. Well, it was supposed to be off the edge of the piece, and then you got to subtract the amount of the notch. Well, he just set it up off the notch. They were all wrong. Then the shipment was late. My fault. And well, I was it was my watch. It was my fault. I got my ass chewed for that, man. But I had to write him up, and he was my good friend too. But it was my job. I had to. And he
If we don't
understood,
have
too.
borders, and if we don't have voting, good voting, fair voting, do you know they're still counting votes in San Diego, California? Listen, they're still counting the votes. This is almost 4 weeks. They're still counting the votes. If we don't have fair elections and honest voting and machines that work quickly, if you had paper ballots, every election will be over by 10 o'clock in the evening.
So let me ask you.
You understand what I'm saying?
Let me
it
before we
always
get.
used to be over that same day, right?
Yeah, a lot of times.
Before all the computers.
Yeah.
Get a much more accurate count.
Before we get to all of that, let me ask you about some of your other promises on this topic. You've
Okay.
promised to end birthright citizenship.
Yeah.
on day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
The 14th Amendment, though, says that, quote, all persons born in the United States are citizens. Can you get around the 14th Amendment with an
Well, we're going to
executive
have to
action?
get a change. We'll maybe have to go back to the people, but we have to end it. We're the only country that has it.
Through an executive action?
You know, we're the only country that has it. Do you know, if somebody sets a foot, just a foot, 1 foot, you don't need to, on our land, congratulations, you are now a citizen of the United States of America. Yes, we're going to end that because it's ridiculous.
Through executive action?
That's why Kamala and them she wanted to legalize, just make everybody that's come in automatically make them citizens.
Yeah.
That way they can vote for her and she can win.
Yeah, because they're not illegal migrants, they're newcomers.
Yeah, yeah. Newcomers, or they're undocumented.
Yeah.
They always got to fucking sugarcoat everything,
Yeah.
you know? That's what I
Well,
didn't
they
like.
changed definitions and words and everything,
Yeah, well,
you know?
and all, you know, that all falls under that fucking woke agenda, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, always got to change things. Always got to have their, you know, everything their way. You know, you're wrong no matter what. You know, I'm right. You're wrong no matter what. And you know, they got to come off of their. They got to be cured of their mental illness.
Well, if we can, through executive action. I was going to do it through executive action, but then we had to fix COVID first, to be honest with you. We have to end it. It's ridiculous. Do you know we're the only country in the world that has it? Do you know that? There's not one other country.
What about the legal challenge, inevitable legal
that's the other
challenges
thing.
that'll come?
Do you know we have thousands of judges? Somebody walks onto our land, and we have to now say, welcome to the United States. They could be a criminal or not a criminal. We release them into our country. It's called catch and release. We release them into our country. Wait just 1 second. And now they get them lawyers. And the lawyers are good lawyers. And everybody has a lawyer. And you know how many judges we have? Thousands. Thousands. Now, here's what other countries do. They come into the land and they say, I'm sorry, you have to go. And they take them out. Okay? With us, once they touch our land, we're into litigation that lasts for years, costs us hundreds of billions of dollars. We have judges, and I'm sure they're all honest, but I don't know that for a fact. You can imagine what's going on with the judges. But just so you, because I have a lot of judges. I tell you what, I know more about judges than any human being in history. Look,
Yeah.
we have judges. Every time somebody puts 2 feet or even 1 foot on a piece of our land, it's welcome to long-term litigation. Other countries, every other country, when somebody walks on and they see that they're here illegally, they walk them off, they take them back to where they came from. We have to get...
Or they shoot them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of countries wouldn't put up with that shit.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, I mean, like China, North Korea and stuff, they got fucking machine guns all around the fucking border.
It's killing our country.
Let's talk about health care. I've been talking to Republican lawmakers on Capitol Hill.
Well, I couldn't get you on that one, so I'm going to try to get you on something else.
They say it's no longer feasible to
Sneaky.
repeal and replace Obamacare.